Right behind me, we have probably the most diverse potato bed you're ever gonna see. Guten gardening, everybody. Well, my hands are absolutely filthy, but it is for a great cause. I've been out planting potatoes nearly all day. Some of the seed potatoes that we kept from last season's harvest and a ton of seed potatoes from Wood Prairie Family Farm. Now in today's video, I want to give you a brief garden tour, show you what's growing already here in our Zone 5 garden, and I want to show you that potato bed. You're not going to see a whole bunch of potatoes popping up, but you're going to see a ton of variety. I want to show you what that looks like. But we're going to start our short tour with this GreenStalk that's filled with green spinach. Now, one of the first things we planted out here this season was our spinach. That's an early crop that can handle a little bit of a frost, and this GreenStalk has done quite nicely so far. You can see just about every single one of our pockets has had some good germination, and you're seeing, multiple. Probably have to thin it out a little bit, we'll see, but we've got some nice leaves already forming. There is one pocket, I'll tell you, that the birds came in and scratched around. Somebody else mentioned they were having that problem with their GreenStalks, and so I had to go back in and reseed that area, and it hasn't started to come back up, it hasn't germinated yet, but this spinach looking pretty good. Now, one of the other vegetables that we planted at just about the same time and another GreenStalk was some radishes. Actually, a whole bunch of radishes in one tier, that's the second tier down, that's turnips. And we planted at the same time because that, along with peas, were the first three vegetables that we got out here in the garden. And one of the things I absolutely love about the spinach and the radishes that we have planted out here is just how quickly they grow. And that means that we can have, of course, some succession planting. So these radishes will be out of here in the next couple of weeks, and we'll be able to put the next crop in here. Now, if I'm going to talk about the spinach, radishes, and peas, I'm going to show you the bed, the long raised bed that we planted first before anything else. And we've definitely had about 2 frosts since the time that we planted this bed. But you can see in here our spinach is looking great. Our peas are getting to a point now where they're about ready to be trellised so that we can keep them upright. And our radishes, well, you can see they're a good week farther along than the radishes in our GreenStalks, but these radishes are looking great. And I can't tell you how excited I am for those red rat tail radishes, the ones that we're gonna get the seed pods from. Now, for those of you who saw our earlier video where I did some experimentation around with just pulling the stalks off of some seed potatoes, this is what we've got right now. You can see actually the formation now of additional potato sprouts, potato stems coming up here. So I'm thinking things are going pretty well. The one thing that didn't form anything was the Magic Molly. I'm gonna actually pull it out right now. You'll be the first and maybe the only one to see this. Oh, well, you can see as I pulled that one up, I discovered that that offshoot off to the right was actually growing from that singular sprout. So while the main sprout didn't form anything up above the ground, it did create an offshoot off to the side. So it looks like every single sprout that I pulled off the potatoes has continued to grow. Now there's something here that I haven't shown anybody that we're growing, and actually it's a transplant. One of the folks that I work with gave us some, what they call Egyptian onions, and they just pulled off a chunk of them, gave it to us, and said that their recommendation based on what they saw was that once we've transplanted them, we cut them way back. And then this is something that'll spread and provide us with these onions in the future. Well, what I can see right here, and I do need to still cut these back. I haven't done that yet. I'm just letting them root for now. It looks like a couple of spots on here. It looks like they're going to go to seed. Now, I have no experience with this at all. So if you're somebody who's grown these before, I'd love to hear about it. Love to know what your thoughts are and best practices around these onions. Well, you can see our garlic behind us looks fantastic. We're over 1 foot tall at this point. And remember, this is our garlic that last year, when we planted it from Keen garlic, and then we took some of the best garlic bulbs because apparently there's some correlation between the size of the garlic clove that you plant and the production of the plant. And we took some of those bigger ones, we planted them last fall, and they look fantastic. I'm super excited for the scapes. Last year was the first year where we made garlic scape pesto. It was so good. I went through it a little bit too quickly, if I'm being honest. But I just noticed something in this bed, and you can see it right here. I got a couple of potatoes that I must have missed, and these were store-bought potatoes that we saved from the store that we planted in here. And we got some pretty good production, but it looks like I missed a couple because I got some potatoes coming up amongst the rest of our garlic. Now behind our rows of composting quail waste over here, and by the way, if you didn't check out our video on composting quail waste, our garden looks so good right now in terms of that soil. Once we've really tilled it in, you should check that out. I highly recommend it. But behind that, we have a vast sea of stinging nettle. I think we have more stinging nettle here than just about anything else. If you'd like a video on stinging nettle and like us to experiment around a little bit with that, let us know in the comments. It's not something that we've talked about very much, but I know that that is a highly prized plant in so many different places by so many people for so many reasons. We've never done a video on it. If you'd like to see a video on it, let us know. You know, maybe 3 weeks ago, all of these raspberry bushes were just barren. It is absolutely astonishing to me how quickly they fill in. I'm thinking we're gonna get a ton of black raspberries, heritage red raspberries, golden raspberries, and I'll tell you what, those that live near to us are gonna be pretty fortunate, I think, because we have a couple of those, especially the golden raspberry plants to sell this year. Really excited to get those out to the community. It's by far my favorite. Now, I did just finish planting our 5th year Ruth Stout bed, our potato bed. We've grown potatoes in there every single year. Again, this is our 5th year. We have 8 different varieties of potatoes in there this season, and I want to show you this. I get down here. We have not been adding dirt to this, I promise. But look at how this material has broken down over the past 5 years. Now I have to add another 5 or 6 inches of hay right on top. That's my next step, but I've got all the potatoes planted in here. It's amazing to me. This stuff looks so good. Our harvest last season was really nice, and I'm thinking 8 different varieties, and that's not even our most diverse bed. I'm looking forward to some great results this season. All right, we're back to where the video started with this beautiful potato bed. You can actually see our Ruth Stout in the distance right beyond it, but this is a 32-foot bed, and I've got 15 different varieties of potatoes planted in here. The varieties we have growing in here are Purple Viking, Huckleberry Gold, Dark Red Norland, Elba, Caribou Russet, Adirondack Blue, Rose Gold, Baltic Rose, and Sharp O'Meara, and we actually gave the most space to those two. Rose Fin Apple Fingerlings, Russian Banana Fingerlings, some French Fingerlings that we've been growing for 5 years here at Guten Gardening, some Purple Magic Molly, and then a collection of volunteers that are already started up in here, and you can see got about an inch or 2 of growth. Now that's a ton of different varieties of potatoes in here, a lot of different textures, flavors, colors, etc. You know, they don't cross-pollinate, so we don't have to worry about planting different varieties side by side. I'm just excited to see how they perform. That harvest is going to be probably the most diverse harvest of potatoes anyone's ever had. Look for that video in a couple of months. Notice that we did give the Sharp O'Mearas and the Baltic Rose the most space in the garden here though, and that's because they performed so well for us last season. And of course we'll be planting them elsewhere, but that's something to keep in mind. Now I can show you my daughter's cherry blossom pink GreenStalk. It's beautiful. I'll show you the outside of it, but I'll tell you, nothing has sprouted yet. We just planted that a couple days ago, all the herbs in there. But in this bed, I've got a tower of purple. I've got Huckleberry Gold, I've got Adirondack Blue, Purple Viking, and Purple Magic Molly. So even though the flesh isn't purple for all of these varieties, that is going to be a beautiful harvest here in a couple of months. I almost missed this one. Check out all the beautiful little honeyberries. They're all green right now, but these plants, these honeyberry bushes are loaded down with honeyberries, and they're gonna ripen up in the next couple of weeks. Oh, they are going to be so delicious. Well, I promised this wouldn't be a long video, and I'm gonna end it here where my little baby apples are on this 3-in-1 apple tree that we got from Fast Growing Trees. I love apples so much. I'm excited for the next couple of months. Man, I've got so much more work to do, but it has been such a joy to be outside today. It is beautiful. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. There's a bit of a wind. I don't mind that. It keeps me cool when I'm working. I'm getting a ton done. Wow, this time of year, is there anything better? Well, thank you so much for joining me in this short garden tour. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you're excited for this upcoming growing season, don't forget to give us a like, leave us a comment, remember to share and subscribe, and most importantly, remember, when you're with us, you are good to grow.